Paul, the long-awaited consultation is now out. What do you think?
It is now out and it is long awaited. So it's been 4 years since the original Future Homes Standard consultation document, at which point it was talking about the two options. And the two options were an interim uplift and then a full uplift to 0.80 for Windows. At the time, the interim uplift for 2021 came in, but we were still expecting a 0.80 uplift for 2025. And that's not the case.
So what do people that haven't read the full document need to know?
I think the main surprises in the full document, because there are a number of surprises in that document. I think the main surprises in there are the notional values, so the values that the government set for the calculation software haven't actually changed. The fabric of the building won't change from the 2021 uplift, and that is a surprise because we were expecting this drop to 0.80. It's remained the same at 1.2 for Windows, and doors are at 1.0. One small difference there is that the door no longer takes into account the size of any glass that's in there. So there was fully glazed door, partially glazed door, and solid composite style door. That's been removed. It's 1.0 no matter which.
So, part of me wants to go down the push-up win route. So at first glimpse, it may look like nothing's changed.
At first glimpse, if you literally just review it and skim read it, it looks like nothing's changed. But the devil is always in the detail, and you have to read all the supporting documents that go with this. When you look at the particular consultation, there's 8 supporting documents for the Part L consultation. That includes the Part F consultation, and they're also requesting information about overheating, so Part O. So those are all in there. And there's also some documentation that covers a new method of doing the calculation method. So removing SAP as software and introducing a new home energy model, which will also change the overall results that you'll get. And I think a lot of what we see is based around that new software. So actually it'll be a more accurate delivery from that new software, which means those notional values are not all they seem. There are new calculation methods proposed for windows and doors. Those new calculation methods will mean predominantly more triple glazing, or they'll mean better design, greater design. And it gives the flexibility to house builders in particular to be able to create that better design.
Home buyers won't really see a difference as such, but the actual structure of the building will change.
So home buyers will see a few differences. Firstly, it is likely that the house price will go up for a new dwelling because there'll be more material cost in there in the first place. So very clearly, developers will pass that on to the buyer of the home. However, there's 2 options that have been proposed within this consultation. One option is greater use of things such as heat pumps, greater air tightness, improved insulation around openings such as pipes, but also the use of things like photovoltaics and also wastewater heat recovery systems. So that's the first option. It's a more expensive option to build. I think the estimation in the impact assessment is around 4% on the build cost, which they suggest is around £6,000. But it will deliver a future home that's ready for lower emissions from carbon, but also will lower heating bills. And that's very important, very clearly. Heating bills in particular, electricity and gas, are not going to go down. And what this will do is it will remove fossil fuels. It will mean that the majority of housing will be running, new build housing will be running on electricity, and it will reduce the overall cost to run that building.
The proposed calculation method, how is that changing things?
So currently there's 4 methods that we can use as a systems house to demonstrate the performance of our products. Within the SAP calculation methods, there's 2 specific ones that you can get from BR443. One's the exact size and configuration of the product. The other is the standard window. And this industry's worked on the standard window for many, many years. So this is the 1230 by 1480 window fixed next to opener. However, there's no specification of that standard window within the building regulations. So you can claim a U value, for example, against a completely unreinforced product despite the fact that the product you're installing having to meet, for example, PAS 24, likely to need reinforcement in it, or being a dark colour, likely to need reinforcement in it. And that will change the U value. But currently you can work with the standard window and you can claim that lower U value. 1.2 is easily achievable through a standard window.
And from a reinforcing point of view, is that including steel and your PVC reinforcing?
So anything that would be put in would affect the U value. Steel will obviously have a negative effect on the U value, with the exception of one of the products that we make, where it actually improves the U value because it creates additional chambers. However, ordinarily, the addition of steel would reduce or raise the U value to a higher value. The various different inserts that can be put in there, because reinforcement, if it's made from plastic, it's not really considered a reinforcement. It's an insert, and it will help with the thermal properties of it. Whether that's then good for things like deflection, etc., that's a different matter completely. If you have a mullion with a wind load pulling on it, invariably you would need steel in there, and therefore your U value is going to be different.
So the question is, do we need triple glazing or not?
So with the proposals, the way the calculation method has changed, we now move to the exact size and configuration. If you therefore calculate a small window, say 900 by 600 in size, the smaller the amount of glass, the worse performing that product would be. So that would bring in a higher U value. So if you simply follow the notional values and you're trying to get a 1.2 area weighted value across everything, you would probably need to bring in triple glazing across everything because of the different sizes and configurations of windows that are being installed in an average property. There's probably other ways of doing this, and this is why it should lead to good design as well, because potentially you could use, for example, different types of glazing, different size of glazing. 24mm glazing performs better than 28mm glazing, but the 28mm glazing unit has been predominantly used in this industry for many, many years. However, good design could also include, for example, double glazed windows on those areas that get the sun, so you're also improving with heat gain from there during the winter months, and maybe triple glazed windows on those that don't get the sun. So the northern aspect of a building could have triple glazed windows in it, and that would balance off with the area weighted. So potentially you could get down to your 1.2 notional from doing good design in that way.
So why have the government not changed the fabric of the building?
So the government have done a lot of work modelling different types of buildings, and they have very clearly listened to industry on this as well. It's not just about fenestration. It's about insulation. It's about companies that can produce different types of heat pumps, etc. It's about delivering that heat strategy into the building. What they've looked at within the consultation is that actually the current fabric of a building delivers good efficiency for heat pumps. And actually improving the insulation of the building does not increase the efficiency of the heat pump. It makes no difference to that. So all you're doing is you're adding cost to the build by increasing the amount of insulation within the fabric of the building, lowering all the U values within that building, but there's no actual monetary gain from doing so. So the amount of carbon that is lost through that building, when balanced against the additional cost of each building, would actually be no monetary gain on that at all.
So it sounds like the calculations could be a headache for fabricators, but VEKA have them covered.
Absolutely, yeah. The calculation could be very, very difficult for fabricators, because if you have to calculate every window in every size, every configuration, including all the mullions, transoms, etc., that might be in that, that's a complicated calculation. And actually, from the point of view of the fabricator, that wastes time, because they're going to have to come to the systems house to be able to get that information. And that's regularly where they would have gone to for that. However, we at VEKA have a software called WindowPlan. And this software is available to all of our fabricators and specifiers. It's cloud-based. It works from our website, and fabricators can simply log on to there and they can create the exact size and configuration of window on there and it will deliver the results for you. So it will deliver the U value, it will check your wind loads, it will create cross-sectional drawings, it will deliver a whole host of different elements that you would need for a whole package to send to a house builder.
So what do people need to do now, Paul?
I think the most important thing for everybody is the consultation runs until the 6th of March in 2024. So we've got plenty of time. It's only been out a couple of days. There's a lot of documentation there. We, as with many other systems houses, will be looking through that. But it's for the fabricators and the installers to respond to that consultation. There is a link which we'll be able to put up to be able to get to the consultation document and be able to respond. But if you don't respond, nothing changes. It goes through exactly as it's already been positioned. And that's why it's important that people do respond. And remember, this isn't just Part L. It's also about the home energy model. It's also about Part F. And there's a question in there about material change of use of buildings. So conversion of office blocks into flats, for example, which currently could go under permitted development rights and often have worse performing flats coming out of those. This consultation is also looking to gain more information about whether those should also be at the higher new dwelling values.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for help guiding us through that.
Thank you very much.